Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Random Chatter Reviews. This is episode number 380. I'm joined tonight by Tim and Eric. Tim, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Lou. Yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to this episode. We got some good stuff to talk about. And Eric, you're with us too. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. I'm starting to feel a little under the weather. Hopefully I didn't catch a computer virus from Tim.
Yeah. I don't know where his computer's been.
That's
so
true.
Gotta be careful there.
I don't know. I got antivirus
Darn
stuff on
computer
my
virus.
computer, so I should be okay. No, I'm doing pretty good.
Though?
And we have some pretty cool things to talk about this week. I was a little worried until I got through the week and realized, hey, there's some good stuff here.
Yeah, some stuff you guys put in the notes here that I have not seen that I'm looking forward to seeing as well, but some stuff that we all saw that I think was pretty good this week. So let's just dive right in here. The first one that we had to talk about, big release, was Halo. This was on Paramount Plus. Yep.
Paramount Plus.
This is their big release that people have been waiting for I can't tell you how long.
In the works, literally over a decade. I mean,
right.
Oh, who was the guy that did the sci-fi movie set in South Africa? District.
Oh, District 9.
Neil Blomkamp.
Blomkamp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he had the rights to it first, and then I think it went through to Spielberg at some point. Yeah. Yeah, and like he was working on it. I think he had a script and everything.
I'm kind of glad he didn't. I mean, I like his stuff, but I don't see him doing this as well as this was done.
This was really good. Like, I was surprised at the production quality, and the opening sequence is probably about 20 minutes long, I think, before we get the title card. And that first 20 minutes or so sold me. Like that opening scene in that colony, like I was sold. Yeah. I'm like, dude, if it sucks from here on out, I don't care. I'm watching the whole thing, even if it sucks at this point, because that first 20 minutes was like all I could have asked for.
Right. So we should probably back up. So Halo is based on a video game, right? This is a Xbox exclusive video game.
Bungie Studios originally, which Xbox or Microsoft then bought.
Okay. Yeah. And I never got to play. So I'm not an Xbox guy. I've never played Halo. I've seen gameplay. I've seen what the game is. I've played other games similar to it, but don't know much about the story. Haven't read any of the books. So I'm coming into this from the standpoint of I'm a sci-fi fan. This looks really cool. I want to enjoy it. What are your backgrounds with Halo? Tim, we'll start with you.
I played the first game quite a bit. Just so much fun. Really great. I mean, it's an iconic game. And there's just been so much that has been explored with it. They've expanded beyond the games with books, and they've done web series. The web series was really good. And other stuff that they've done with it. And so this is awesome now that it's getting its own proper series. And I'm excited.
I played the original game when it came out. It's still one of my favorite first person shooters, I think. And it was surprising because it was a first person shooter that had a deep story. The sequels, at least for the next game or two, also had deep stories. And then I never really, as I got older and I don't have the twitchy reflexes of like a teenager, and it got really competitive and multiplayer and stuff like that. And historically I never had a good internet connection. Stuff today I could probably hold up internet wise, but not agility wise. So I never really got into it long term, but it was an incredible series. And the world building was just mind blowing. I would say that and Mass Effect are the two video game series whose world building justified having fiction written about it, whether it be in book form, movie form, television form. In fact, those are the only two video games for which I've read any books either. I've read, I think, two of the Halo novels and several of the Mass Effect novels. It's really good. Now they're taking some differences from the video game and the books and the canon as we knew it, and they're changing a little bit for the TV series, but that's okay because I think a storyline through a video game, the pacing and the reveals and things like that are set up differently because you're interacting directly with it and you're kind of doing it at your own pace, and you need reveals to be paced out to balance the gameplay. In a series, you need the pacing to balance out the ebbs and flows of the viewing experience. It's almost like the difference between a movie and a book. I talked about this in our Discord server. John Grisham, I think, was the author of The Firm, and they made that into a movie. And I saw an interview with him once. We was talking about the scene in the book where the main character breaks into this corporate office and he's frantically like printing out or copying documents while security's trying to hunt him down. And in the book, that's like a really, really fast-paced, intense moment. And on screen, Grisham pointed out it would be boring. It would put you to sleep. Who wants to watch somebody like copy papers?
True.
So certain things work on film, but not in books. And it's the same thing in video games. So for those who are concerned about the differences, just deal with it. I think the TV series so far is phenomenal.
And just, I mean, don't have an expectation that, okay, hey, I've played the game's really cool, that you're going to, you know, put this show on and that you're suddenly going to be like immersed in a first person shooter.
Right.
That's not, you know, this is a series that is based on the game. It is kind of based on much of the broader canon, if you can call it that. That's been developed kind of following the first game. But you know, they're changing stories. They're changing storylines. So
as I think they should. I think this story works for this format.
Yeah, I mean, if you told the same story, there wouldn't be anything to intrigue you to keep watching, right? I mean, you know, you'd want to see what played out in the game, but you also want to have something new and intriguing and something new to the table, right? You want to learn something. You want to be intrigued by a mystery, I guess. But you're right. The first 20 minutes or so of this was phenomenal. Now, coming from the standpoint of I've never been involved in Halo, I could kind of see how, okay, the setup is good for this. The cinematics are good. And yet then we get those couple first person perspective things. And I'm like, okay, this is what the game must have been like. I'm like, this is pretty cool. And I'm not knowing who the good guys and bad guys are. And I'm like, I'm coming at this thinking, I thought the Halo guys were the heroes of the story. And these guys are all treating them like, no, these guys are going to kill everybody and we don't want them here. And
so that is new.
I'm like, okay. So that's new for the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the basic premise for the video game when it's starting out is you play Master Chief, who is nameless and kind of personalityless because they're making a story, but you as a character have to participate in that story. So they're kind of making it so you were maybe genetically engineered, or maybe your mind was wiped, or maybe whatever, but you're basically the thing that they thaw out when they need a super soldier for something. So you're kind of, you know, your reflexes are, think like Captain America level enhancement maybe. And then this really super rare, expensive suit of armor. Later on, you find out, you know, there are other Halo units and et cetera that you also then interact with and whatever. So the flat affect of the main character is kind of supposed to be reminiscent of you being that character in the video game, because you could be anybody. And the characters kind of interact with you as if you are this nameless, faceless helmet, kind of like the Mandalorian, right? Like you're not, it's dehumanizing to some extent because all you ever see is a helmet. I'm surprised they took the helmet off. Not a big spoiler. Don't worry about it. I'm surprised they took the helmet off for a moment in this, because then it does humanize the character a little bit. And it's going to be interesting to see them bring that about on the series. But there were some throwbacks, Easter eggs, if you will. Like there's one point where Master Chief takes some heavy fire as a distraction for another person in the unit, and then takes cover, and then you hear his shields recharging, and that's something you would do in the game.
Oh yeah, totally for the game. It was very cool.
That end of that sequence, you're like, oh, shield's fully charged. He can hop out again. Like we gamers we trigger on that sound because then you could audibly listen for it while you're still visually keeping up with what's going on in the game. So there was
and you knew exactly what he was doing in the show
you
too.
Knew exactly it.
Because it, you saw that like he took a whole bunch of hits, the shields are going down, the alarm, the chime goes off for the low shields, so he ducks down behind cover, and he just like sits there and chills there for 15 seconds.
I knew what was going on from playing other games.
And that's the thing. Like you're kind of familiar with that concept, right? So even if you haven't played the games, this show is not going to lose you in those kind of details. You really don't have. I mean, Lou, this sounds like what you're saying is that it didn't lose you at all. You didn't feel like, what's going on? Why am I not understanding this? Like it was still pretty easy to keep up with, right?
I went back and watched it a second time after we had some of our discussions in Discord, and I picked up on stuff you guys were talking about. But okay, that would make sense. And I watched it the second time with subtitles, so I caught more of the names. I know who the players were. Because you guys talk about, who is this? And related to that, I'm like, I didn't get any of that, really, because I was watching it kind of doing other things. But yeah, I mean, everything holds up. I think it's the series looks to be very well produced. It looks like a top-notch show right now. I'm looking forward to watching the rest of this.
I'm really excited about it. You're always nervous when there's like a fan favorite franchise or character like this. You're always like, please don't mess it up, and you get kind of anxious before it comes out. And I think that they did this well. They served it well. They produced it well. It shows respect for what came before while giving us something new. It is as good as we could have hoped for it to be.
And it's a compelling story. The story details and such, what they have done, what they've uncovered, where clearly it's going to be going. I think it's really compelling. I think there's good stuff in it. I'm excited about where it's going to go, and it definitely looks like a worthwhile series.
Okay, great. Next up, something I haven't seen, Death in the Nile. Have you guys both watched this?
I have seen it. Tim, have you gotten it? Okay.
We have not yet.
So this is it's still in theaters. It's coming out on home video, I think in 2 days. And then DVD, I think, in a couple of weeks after that. So this is the follow-up to Murder on the Orient Express,
right?
With Kenneth Branagh both directing and acting as Hercules Poirot.
Hercule.
Hercules Poirot.
No, Hercule.
It's related to the guy that ran for president back in like the late 80s, early 90s, right?
No, not him either. No.
Okay.
No.
Anyway, some director guy, so who also plays this detective guy with some kind of weird French name that Tim can't seem to pronounce, and
Hercule Poirot.
Yeah. So this stars off the top of my head, I would get half of them wrong. Gal Gadot, Armie Hammer, Russell Brand. It was interesting because I saw the character playing the doctor, and I thought, I know that guy. Where do I know that guy? He looks like Dev Patel, but he's not. I know it's not Dev Patel, who I love. Who is this guy? And I had to look at the credits, and it was Russell Brand, and I'm like, holy crap, he cleans up well. Like, I could not believe it. I was really impressed. But the acting in this was top notch. It's a
Letitia Wright,
slower type movie. I mean, it's based on an old Agatha Christie novel, so I think that a lot of if you want to stereotype age groups and demographics, I think that the younger demographic is going to have a harder time with the pacing of the story. The murder, it's a 2-hour movie, and the murder happens an hour into it. It's a slow burn. It's a murder in a mansion kind of movie, except this isn't a mansion. It's out on a cruise ship on the Nile. And the same thing, Murder on the Orient Express, it was a murder in a mansion mystery, except it happened on a train. And it's very old school type of story. Now, apparently they changed some things from the books. I've never read any of Agatha Christie's books, but it was good. I liked it. I liked it a lot. The acting was incredible. Kenneth Branagh, I mean, wow, did such a good job with it.
He really is great. He really is great. Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to seeing this. We're big fans of my wife's a big fan of Kenneth Branagh.
Your wife's obsessed with Kenneth Branagh.
Yes. We're big on all the Agatha Christie stuff. There was a whole series of Poirot movies that were done a while back, and we have those, and so seeing different iterations of Orient Express, and read the book and all that stuff, and but looking forward to Death on the Nile. Was one of those things that we wanted to go to the theater to see it, and a lot of COVID has let up, but like every weekend we've ended up with something going on, so we just simply haven't made it. So glad that it is coming out on for home viewing.
I would say
shortly.
if you're that much of a fan, maybe even still seeing it in the theater, if you feel safe doing it, maybe that would still be a thing. It was the cinematography behind it was really good. Part of me wants to like Murder on the Orient Express more, in part because I don't like hot climates, and I really, really do like Daisy Ridley a lot. So I kind of would steer more toward that, but I would argue this is a better movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that if you want to get nitpicky about some of the craftsmanship of the film, you could easily argue that this is better. I don't know that it would be a winning argument, but you could easily make that argument. Yeah, this was a strong pick. This was really good.
Okay. Next up, we have Our Flag Means Death. This is an HBO Max series,
Yes,
right?
Tim, please tell me you watched this while you were sick.
Most of it.
Okay, I'll take it.
We actually today we watched most of the season. It is fantastic. It is absolutely
I gotta put this on my
fantastic.
list then, huh? I gotta watch this.
It is damn funny.
Right?
Great cast, which is led by Taika Waititi.
So the premise,
really
it's
funny
set back
story.
in like what, the 1800s.
So in IMDb, the premise says the year is 1717. Wealthy landowner Slade Bonnet has a midlife crisis and says to blow up his cushy life and become a pirate.
So it's this prissy aristocrat kind of guy who decides to go buy a boat and become a pirate, and has no clue how to do. So like his captain's quarters, he's decked out with like this full library, which if you know anything about how heavy books are on a boat,
and how boats rock back and
how
forth.
Most of the crew back then probably not literate enough to know how to read any of them anyway, and like just this absolute incompetency as he's trying to navigate pirate life. And as you said, directed by and produced by Taika Waititi, who also appears in the series as a very, very prominent character.
Okay.
In what I would argue one of his better performances too. And Lou, you got IMDb up. The guy who plays Steed, the actor's
Rhys
name.
Darby.
Huh?
Rhys Darby.
He's one of those characters where you will probably recognize him when you see him, but you won't remember what you've seen him in.
He was in the new Jumanji movies. He was a voice actor for Voltron. He's been, he's done a lot of stuff.
So he's known for Flight of the Conchords, What We Do in the Shadows, The Boat That Rocked.
There was another show recently that was a takeoff of Lost. It was a comedy. Lost combined with one of those other things where like people hunt other people down for sport. I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to look at IMDb, but he was in that too.
He's got something coming up that I want to watch just from the title. It says, "Relax, I'm from the future."
Okay. You've got to watch Our Flag Means Death. It's funny.
Yeah, I'm going to put this on my list right now.
I finished the first season.
It's great.
It ends in such a way that I cannot wait for the second season. Really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, looking forward to just continuing through it. It's funny.
You got to watch it, Lou.
Looks like it's got quite a few episodes. Yeah, okay. Looks like
that's the other thing too. Like it's bingeable, and yet it's not like a 6-episode Disney Plus thing. Like it lasts long enough for you to feel like you're watching a series, and yet not so long that it's like 20 episodes or something.
Okay, there's an episode titled "The Art of Curry.
Yes.
Yes.
I like
Yes.
it. I like it. Yeah, I'm going to put some on my list right now. Okay. Let's see. Upload season 2.
Oh, yes.
We covered this on Media Chatter recently. I finished season 2. I think Eric has as well.
Absolutely.
Tim, have you watched all of season 2?
Of Upload, yes.
Okay.
And
okay, Tim. Yeah, start with you.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a great continuation of the first season, and with where they left us, and I love where that big thing of where they left us with his his wife. Just kind of like that became a significant issue in the second season, and it was really well done. It was damn funny. And they've continued kind of chasing after the mystery surrounding his death and all that. And it was good.
Like
it was good. I thoroughly enjoyed it
more than Robin did.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Good.
Absolutely.
I got the end of this, and I'm like, please tell me this is the first half of the season. We're in the second half in a couple of weeks. And I'm like, wait. But yeah, no, I was really happy with the way this ended up. I mean, I think it was better in the first season in some ways and worse in some ways, but I enjoyed it pretty thoroughly.
Yeah. I still love that show. It's not perfect, but I mean, come on. Most of the stuff on TV right now isn't perfect, and this is solidly a good choice.
Definitely. We have Severance I'm still watching. This is the Apple TV Plus series. I'm an episode behind. I think you're ahead of me, Eric. You've watched up to the last one from last week.
I just watched the most recent one today, in fact. Yeah. It's I mean, they continue to it continues to be confusing, but with each episode they move closer and closer to the end game for the season, and it's intriguing.
It keeps you engaged and it keeps you guessing what's going on. And like you said, I don't I told my wife, I'm like, I don't know what is going on, but I like the show. It's got something about it that's like, what is going on here, and why
is the characters are relatable, because the characters that you're focused on don't really understand what's going on either. And that's part of the discovery, right? I think that they make good avatars for the audience in that regard. And so that kind of helps you through the confusion, because the lead characters are confused too. So you're going through this discovery together. And I think that really helps form a connection to this series. It's a very easy series to jump into. And then, like I said, once things really ramp up, especially this last episode, Lou, you're going to have to let me know what you think when you watch it.
Okay, I will.
They've got to be coming up on the finale in the next episode or two. I don't know exactly how long it is, but we got to be close. I believe
this was episode, we're ahead of here a second ago.
I think you said it was
episode
9.
7, and there's 9 episodes.
Okay, so only 2 left. And it shows, like, they're definitely, they're coming close to something. Still not quite sure what it is, and that's the point. But like, the lead characters are starting to get a little fed up with the way things are. And and
evidently they were supposed to go into production for season 2 this month.
So we're getting a season 2.
That's happened. So second season was scheduled to begin shooting on March 14th.
I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, Tim, I would recommend that too. It's definitely the kind of thing where you're going to want to not watch it when you're overly tired, distracted, drunk, high, medicated.
Yeah, you don't want to multitask during the show.
Yeah, like it's not super fast paced either.
So I am never going to watch
Tim,
that.
Basically.
Come on, Tim.
Yeah. Now you'll like it though if you watch it, I think.
Damn.
Okay, next up on our list here we have Ultrasound. This is a movie that I think Eric recommended to me that I have not watched yet.
Yeah, this one almost flew under my radar.
Tell us the tale.
So it's weird. It's one of those movies where you kind of need to watch the trailer and then decide from the trailer whether or not you think you want to watch it or not. It's an independent film, and so this guy's driving at night in the rain and runs over, a nail in the road and blows his tire, and he goes up to this house, and it's raining, it's pouring rain, and the guy's like, oh yeah, come on in. And so he and his wife take this guy in for the night, and things aren't quite what it seems. The first thing that kind of tips the lead character off is the guy whose house it is. He says, "Yeah, so you can stay the night here, but you're gonna have to take this bedroom up at the end of the hall." And he says, "Okay." He says, "Yeah, it's my wife's bedroom. You're gonna be in there with her tonight." The guy's like, "Wait, what? No, that's not a thing. That's not how this works." And that's the first thing that kind of clues the guy in that there's something wrong. And then there's a little bit of a jump forward where the guy gets back to town. Like a couple of days later, he got his car fixed and stuff like that. And the guy from the house ends up knocking on his door. And he's like, what are you doing here? What? No, go away. We're not friends or anything. It's not like, see you, bye. I mean, thanks for your help, but you're going now. Things get crazy from there. Then you realize that like the things you're watching may not actually be happening. And it's one of those movies that kind of screws with your head a little bit, not to the point where you're going to be completely lost. Okay. Like you kind of get what's going on and you're trying to put the puzzle pieces together. You have the puzzle pieces and they kind of make sense, even if you don't know exactly what the final picture is supposed to look like yet. For an independent film of this level of plot complexity, it's really good. That being said, it can be a bit confusing if you're not really paying attention to it. It can be a little hard to relate to the characters at first or really get invested in the characters until it gets a little further into the movie. It's going to be a third of the way into the movie before you're like, okay, I care now about what's going on. But if you like movies that are unpredictable or where it kind of messes with the audience a little bit, you'll like this movie. It's called Ultrasound. I forget which streaming service it's on now because it was like a week and a half ago that I watched it. It might be Apple TV Plus. It might be Amazon. I don't recall. But
okay,
I would not recommend it to everybody, but I think that we definitely have a lot of viewers in our audience who would enjoy this movie quite a bit. And Lou, I think you would. Tim, I think you would too. But then you like Mulholland Drive. Which just makes a lot more sense than, yes. But this might bore you because it's not nearly as confusing as Mulholland Drive was. So I don't know. But anyway, yeah, Ultrasound. Watch the trailer first.
Sounds fun.
That's my advice. Watch the trailer. If the trailer doesn't interest you, don't waste time on the movie. If the trailer does interest you, you'll like the movie.
Okay. I'll have to check that out. Next up, we have something, I don't know what it is, Burnt. Who put this in?
Burnt. That was me. So Burnt is a few years old. Came out in 2015. Had never seen it before. Had never even heard of it. It's who's over on Amazon Prime. And just kind of as we were flipping through movies one night, it caught our eye and has in it a couple of things, the aspects that I really like. So first of all, Bradley Cooper is the star of it. Big fan of basically anything that he does. And it is the restaurant industry. So basically, he is I wouldn't say disgraced, but he was a chef who basically blew up his whole career with addiction, cleans himself up, comes back, and wants to basically now create an absolute epic restaurant, fine dining level stuff. And, he pulls together some old friends who haven't seen him in like 10 years because last they knew, some were like, hey, I thought you were dead, kind of stuff. Like, he was that level of addict. And then bring some other people into it. And it's good. It's I'll say a Sienna Miller in it and Daniel Bruhl, who folks, especially a lot of our listeners here, are going to know Daniel Bruhl as Zemo from the MCU.
Oh, okay.
He was in Falcon Winter Soldier and Civil War. So yeah, really, really great movie. If you like Bradley Cooper, if you like restaurant industry stuff, or otherwise really just, I think a good drama intense drama kind of thing. Really well done.
Okay, cool. Yeah, 2015 was date on that, Tim. Yeah, it was pretty good rating on IMDb. So yeah. I get my wife to watch it. She likes Bradley Cooper, so
yeah, I'm sure I can
convince her to watch
there you go.
Let's see. Perfect World: The Deadly Game. It's next up on our list.
This was one of my my picks. This was on Paramount Plus. I keep forgetting I have some of these streaming services. So after watching Halo on Paramount Plus, it was like, oh, I need to remember what else is on this. Or maybe it was Peacock. But those two, it's like, I keep forgetting I have these. I need to go through and see what's here that I might like. And this one, I sometimes like documentaries, sometimes. And this one looked like maybe it was interesting. It's about people who play an MMO, think something like World of Warcraft or something like that. And this was an international one that had some popularity for a while, called Perfect World. And one of the players in this particular server, for which they had a Discord set up and very active community, was told some other people on the server that he had just killed his mom and grandmother. And they're like, yeah, whatever, dude, you've been like saying stuff like this for years. Very kind of a toxic community. He's like, yeah, no, I've got pictures. And sent the pictures. Said, yeah, my sister's coming home in about an hour. She's next. And then, my dad will be later tonight when he gets home. And they're like, wait, what?
Oh boy.
Is this real? And one of the people in the group, I forget where she lives. She's in the US. And she had just finished her criminal justice degree and had a little bit of work with cybersecurity and investigations and stuff like that. And she's like, yeah, no, these pictures, these may actually be real. And so got with some of the other people on the server admins, and then trying to like hunt them down by IP address and stuff like that. Cause of course, at one point somebody calls the cops, and the cops are like, okay, what's his name? Well, this is his first name, maybe.
Yeah,
okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And
where's he live? We don't know.
Are the pictures photoshopped, or what country is he in? So they finally narrowed it down to a country and then to a city. It's a big city, and they're like, yeah, I got nothing for you. So they kind of had to do the investigation themselves. It's a 2-part documentary series. I think maybe like an hour and a half an episode. If you're into gaming and kind of like, I guess, vigilante investigation, it was interesting. If not, I don't know that it would hold your interest.
So is it based on a true story? I mean, it's a documentary.
It's a documentary. Like it's
So
interviews
it's a
with
true
the people
crime.
who were involved, right down to like police detective level.
Yeah.
So it was real.
That's cool.
It's also it's a little disturbing, and it doesn't have a happy ending, as you would expect it wouldn't. So keep that in mind. It's not for everybody, but it was interesting enough that I don't feel like I wasted my time in watching it.
Okay. I see we have Domino Masters.
I do feel like I wasted my time watching that.
Second time I thought we said it wasn't worth watching.
No, Tim said it was worth watching, I thought.
Yeah. No. I think we can go back to the replay, and I would say, just skip this.
I wish I had. Yeah.
So enough said.
Yeah, don't watch it.
Tim, you're still watching BSG?
Yeah.
What
just got into season 4. I'm a couple of episodes in on season 4. Still thoroughly enjoying this. I'm just absolutely loving this.
So we will
whole
have
thing.
to get back with you when you hit the finale, because we need some after action reports. We need we need the scoop.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I want to know what his thoughts are, because we all had thoughts when we watched it the first time, and I mentioned to you guys a while ago when I finished up the second pass through, I was more forgiving, I guess, of the way it ended up than I think a lot of people were in the beginning when they first watched it. A few years removed from, I think I'm just more. I was okay with the way everything ended up.
You know what to expect, I think, the second time around. I've never watched the fourth season a second time. I've watched the first season probably 6 or 7 times, and we used to have a podcast for it on the network way back in the day.
Right.
Second and maybe first half of the third season, I watched 2 or 3 times, and then from that on, I don't think I've ever really rewatched it. Maybe I need to just kind of catch the end of it again.
Yeah, I mean, we're so. I'm actually not finished watching The Plan, which is the movie after season 4. I'm still in the middle of that. I haven't come back to finish that up yet.
It was set before.
It was,
it was the end of season 3.
Yeah, it was between 3 and 4.
No, this was originally aired October 27, 2009. Season 4 ended started in March. Ended in March of 2009.
Really?
So The Plan came out afterward. Yeah, that's what shows here.
But it was set before.
Wikipedia. It was retelling of the entire series from the Silence perspective.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Not that. I was thinking
Razor.
of the Razor.
Yeah. I was thinking Razor,
which is the one about the Admiral.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the end of season 3.
And that one there, if you watch it on streaming, it'll play in sequence of when that comes up. It's Razor's a good episode.
It makes it like episode 22 or something of season 3.
And then when you're done,
and I'm gonna have to go back and watch.
I was gonna say we have to watch Caprica.
Yeah, I gotta watch that again too. I really enjoyed Caprica.
I thought it was
out. I'm sorry it didn't get picked up for a second season.
Yeah, that really upset me that it didn't end up going anywhere.
So do you know what episode you're on, Tim, in season 4? How far in you are?
Maybe 2 or 3. Just really started it.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear what you have to say at the end. Let's see here. Hot Fuzz. Who's responsible for this?
I am. Have you guys ever seen this movie?
I've
all
stayed away
3
from
of the so-called trilogy.
Yeah. Oh God.
The Edgar Wright trilogy.
Yeah, so Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and
I thought it was like a Hot Fuzz trilogy.
No, it was not a trilogy, but it was like he did 3 movies with a lot of the same actors, and then the third one was like the pub at the end of the world or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Of the 3, I loved Shaun of the Dead. I had a really hard time getting into Hot Fuzz.
So it was a while ago that I had seen Shaun of the Dead, and then actually just watched Hot Fuzz last night. So this has, directed by Edgar Wright. Simon Pegg stars in it. Martin Freeman is in it. There's actually a really great slate of actors that are in this whole thing. It is damn funny. If no one's seen this, so this is it's British comedy. I'll say a slightly Americanized British comedy. It's not like your traditional British comedy.
I think it might have been better.
It basically turns out to be a buddy cop movie, kind of part parody, but like part has a reasonably legitimate story of its own. And it's told really well. It's really freaking funny. It's one of those movies that is so self-referential with certain things, and it comes full circle in a lot of that stuff, and it's great. It's on Amazon Prime, available to rent, and I definitely recommend it. I thought it was damn good.
Okay,
I thought it was
thoroughly enjoyable.
Okay.
I laughed a lot.
I have not seen it. No.
Okay, it was. I'm in the minority.
The stuff he's done.
Everybody seems to love it. I think it was like, okay. It wasn't bad. It was fine. But I'm in the minority. Everybody seems to love it. So go with Tim's recommendation on it.
For some reason, the trailer looked good when it first came out, and I wanted to see it, but never went to see it. And then, I don't know, just never had desire to see it on home video. I probably should.
Yeah.
You should.
Someday when you're bored.
It's worth the $4 to rent on Prime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Lastly, BattleBots. So Eric and I watched the first round of the tournament together. We didn't get a chance to do it this past Thursday.
Which I have to say, I really enjoyed. We need to do that again.
I did too. We had a good time. We should probably do this coming weeks, Thursday, the 3 of us together.
Yes.
And I have not finished last week's episode yet, about halfway through. So yeah, I'm
we won't spoil
getting
it
into that. But yeah, I mean, so far the battles have been good. Was this week live up to expectations? I mean, so far I'm happy with it.
Tim?
Yeah. I some of the games or some of the matches, I mean, kind of like most of the time in this, some of the matches go the way you guess they're going to go. And then you have other ones that just don't, that like, huge surprises of like, holy crap. How could it have gone that way? So, but a lot of fun, excellent robot destruction.
Yep.
I did well. I only got one wrong, but with a caveat. There were two robots. So when they came out, I changed my vote after seeing the robot's configuration, and it was before the match. Now I wish I was on call so I had a witness to it, but yeah, there was one configuration that really confused me, and it did not go well for that.
Okay. I mean, overall, I think the series has been the tournament's been pretty good. I was kind of bummed that they had to replace Glitch.
I know, right?
In last week's episode. That was kind of weird.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, I was like, Eric and I were watching it, and we're kind of fast forwarding through some of the stuff just to get to the battles, and we're like, wait, did we miss something? What happened to Glitch? And we had to go back and watch it.
I had Glitch going at least through a couple of rounds, and you had a Glitch going all the way through the tournament.
All the way to the end, yeah. I mean, I think it was a pipe
Did you really?
But
Wow.
I was like, this guy's bot is doing so well in the preliminaries. I'm going to put him all
And
the
then
way
I
in.
forgot who they brought in, but it was like, oh my gosh, of all the bots to bring in, that's like the worst.
Oh, it was Mammoth. Yeah,
okay,
I'm like,
you might as well have brought Rusty in. I mean,
Rusty won a
I
match.
heard.
Did you watch the
not in the
tournament
tournament?
after that?
Not in the tournament.
Yeah, right. Not tournament. He wasn't in the tournament, but they played the Bounty Hunter one after the tournament, and he won at least one round.
I haven't watched that yet. I'm going to have to.
Incredible.
And it was a righteous win. I mean, he legitimately beat the snot out of Kraken.
Oh, good.
Kraken, yeah. I mean, it was funny because Kraken is known as being an almost indestructible bot. Not that it always does a lot of damage, but Rusty took him down. I was like, oh my God.
No, this tournament so far, I think has been good. There have been a couple of curious matches, a couple of upsets, a couple were kind of close.
I love the fact that like this is a legitimate sport. I mean, you look at any other sport that's out there, and I can go to a game for my local hockey team, and I mean, Wednesday they lost against actually a team that's very local to Lure. We did Star Wars night a few weeks ago. They're one of the worst teams in the league. My local team was rated at the time like third in the league. They're back up to being tied for second, and they lost. So you have just like at any point in time, what's the saying? At any given Sunday, it's a football reference that you just never know. You can have the best team and the worst team, and you have some semi assurances. You just don't know. And it's great that they, it's not great, but you have maintenance issues that come up. So it's just like, having an athlete that goes out sick or injured from a team, something like that. It's all the same types of issues, but just from a different perspective because you're dealing with robots. Right. And it's just, it really is brilliant. I mean, some of the engineering really is amazing.
I think too,
and the driving is
that's
amazing.
What I was going to get at.
Just
like some of the bots themselves are clever and ingenious in how they were constructed, but then other times you get a bot that, it might be an average bot, but the driver is so skilled that he can just mop the floor with people. And so in the tournament like this, sometimes it's hard to remember, okay, I remember that bot, but I don't remember who's driving it. And then you've got to kind of piece it together a little bit when you're choosing your brackets. But
as far as the sport goes, it means a lot like auto racing, where you've got a mechanical device that's doing something. This one's destructive versus just trying to race around in a circle, but it's fun to watch. There's a lot of good stuff going on, and a lot of things can happen to change the tide of the gameplay. So it's a lot of fun.
And I think that's one of the best things about this show is it's just fun. Right? Like you can invest as much or as little as you want into it emotionally, and it can be background noise, or you can be like sitting there with your popcorn cheering them on. It's just fun. And I think that over the last couple of years with the pandemic and this and that, it's nice to have things that you can sit down and watch that aren't really heavy. They're not pulling on your heartstrings. They're not making you feel depressed. It's not, how many people got slaughtered in the first 15 minutes. It's a competition with robots. And for the most part, the competitors are all good sportsmen. They have good attitudes.
They lose gracefully in most cases.
Yeah, the attitudes are very much about preserving the spirit of the sport and not arrogance and selfishness and they don't have an attitude about it.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. It's really, I mean, if folks haven't checked it out, I mean, I think we've been pretty convincing over the last couple of years about BattleBots. I mean, we've had Farouk on a couple of times on the show. We talk about it a lot. We are clearly
save it to the end of the show so that
and it's great.
It doesn't take up the rest of the podcast each time. We could just do a BattleBots podcast at this point.
Yep.
Which might not be a bad idea.
Maybe. So that brings the end of the episode. One thing I want to throw in, though, that I forgot to put up in the top of our notes was Picard. I'm still watching Picard.
Oh, yeah. I'm catching up.
Episode 3, I think, of that. So still good stuff. I won't say anything else about where they are and time travel and stuff, but yeah, it's good.
I'm a little disappointed that they're doing time travel at all. But
I'm disappointed in them.
I get it.
Acting in the current timeline. It's like it doesn't.
I mean, it's a Star Trek thing, though, right? I mean, they did it with the movies, with the original crew, and they've done it before with other things. And
something about doing action scenes in today's environment doesn't work for me. I mean, seeing them in San Francisco, kind of fish out of water type thing was fine in the movies, but in this it's kind of weird. But
it wasn't.
Still, it's a good story.
It wasn't as bad as I thought. Like there were some good scenes there. Yeah, I mean, it was fine. I kind of wish they weren't going in this direction, but they're not ruining it. It's okay.
Yeah, and I'm sure it'll pay up at the end, so I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
Next week we have Moon Knight, right? Comes out this week.
Oh, that's right.
Right?
And something else is coming out this
Wednesday.
week too, right? Something else.
Don't call me or text me Wednesday morning. I'll be busy.
Yeah, I think there is something else. I don't remember off the top of my head what it is,
was,
though.
But I saw something else popped out this week, too. But yeah, we'll figure it out before the next weekend. Yeah. So, okay, guys. Eric, why don't you take us out?
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Random Chatter. Thank you to everybody hanging out in the chat room with us. We record live a little bit after 8 p.m. Eastern time every Sunday night. We also do media chatter on Monday nights. Tomorrow we're going to be covering In From the Cold, right?
Yes.
I keep forgetting the title of it. Love the show. Just finished the finale today. Really, really good series. I think it's going to be an interesting episode. Yeah. So that's going to be tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Go to randomchatter.com/YouTube or youtube.com/randomchatter. Hit the subscribe and like button. There's a notification button there that will let you know when we go live. And you can hop into the chat, listen along, or you can catch it later on that same channel or at randomchatter.com. Go to randomchatter.com/Discord. Join our Discord server, and there's a lot of stuff there. You can talk about this show and tell us what you've been watching and what you think we might want to check out. And we'll cover it here on the podcast. And we'll even mention your name as the person who recommended it to us. So that's going to do it for this episode of Random Chatter. We will see you again in a week. Until then, take care.